Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to this What's Map DLC special with me, BonBonB. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today we'll have a look at Sunset Harbour, the 9th of the 9 current DLCs with the game. It was released in March of 2020 and brought us the fishing industry, aviation club and intercity buses, amongst other things, including 5 new maps. And the 5 new maps fall into the pattern which show that actually the developers have worked out how to produce half decent maps. Well done to the developers. Not going to say they're the best maps you'll ever find, but they are way better than some of those we've seen in the past. And way better is a good reason to support people, and a good way of supporting people is by, let me think. That's right, hitting the like button. Really good way of supporting the channel as well. Thank you very much for your ongoing support. Right, today's first of the 5 maps in alphabetical order is Azure Coast from Sunset Harbour DLC. Azure Coast, probably I would say the best. It's quite a busy little map, this one. There's your start square, again very usable, no complaints with that one. Let's have a look at the resources. The resources a little bit typical. Actually got resources outside of the 25. Whoa, hello. Well, let's have a look at the fishing. The fishing, we've got a little bit of everything going on there, and of course fishing is important in Sunset Harbour. And let's go down to ground level. We're going to be jumping about all over this map because there's just lots going on. So first of all, we have road over rail, very neatly done there. Over here we have got, let's have a little look at the Essential Lighthouse. Isn't she lovely? And very well placed, I would say, there as well. So good points there. And then the road and the rail separate for a moment while the rail drops down a little bit. Just a little bit downhill where it doesn't really need to be, especially when it comes back up to go over the bridge. So I would have maintained that at the same level all the way across if that were me. Which way shall we go here? We've got two lots of road and the rail. Let's have a look at the rail. The rail dead ends right here by some sort of impact crater, creek. Something interesting going on. I don't really understand it. Anyway, into the start square. The start square, again, very usable, very playable. Plenty of room to build into there and lots of places to expand into as well. Right, let's fly over here. I've got rail over here as well. An interesting, everybody's favourite factory. An interesting little turn back there on the sidings. That's all very nice as well. The rail is a little bit up and down here though. It just goes under the road and then we've got some steepish little climbs here and there. Again, does it really matter in terms of the game? No, but if you're a realist, that will distract you a little bit. We've got a hidden castle over here on this lake, and it's quite an interesting castle, gonna say. Not gonna study it in too much detail. We've got a lot to go through today. And got a little Y-shaped castle going on there as well. It's a busy map. Lots of things going on. What's going on over here? Got a dry river. I'm not entirely sure I buy into this dry river, but because see the way it goes in both directions. It goes uphill and it goes downhill the opposite way as well. Put the lines of terrain on there as well. So you can see, does that look like it's been eroded down there? Or does it look like it's been put in by somebody who wants a feature? I like the fact that it's sand-lined though, which does make it look like it's a dry river. Loving the mountains. I'm loving the water sources as well. It's very, very nice, clean, crisp work, and a big fan of that. And then if we come down here, we've got another castle down here. Ooh, it's another castle. And again, just dotted around, not overly complicated, but very busy. And busy is a good thing sometimes. So we've got this little trail of islands coming out this way to another island out here. And this all feels like it just like works together as well. Little H-shaped island there as well. It was like a TIE fighter. Was it yeah, it was a TIE fighter, wasn't it? Anyway, hey, it's a very nice looking map. Very playable map. Lots of things to do without being too distracting. And definitely one I would personally play. And there's high praise from me. Yes, Azure Coast. Would I give this 4 stars? I think I would just edge into 4 stars for it. It's playable, and with a better theme, that would be a very nice looking map as well. 4 stars from me for Azure Coast. Can they maintain this with today's second map? And at first glance, you can see this looks a little bit different. It's an impact crater. It's more of a fantasy map, this one, so I have to allow for a little bit of stretch of the imagination here and there, so I'm not going to be too critical on things that aren't so realistic. Crater Falls is the name of the map, and of course, yes, if you want this, you'll need to purchase a Sunset Harbour DLC. Okay, I don't think it's a freebie. No, it's not, this wasn't free. You had to actually buy it, I do believe. There's your start square. Entrance at both sides of the start square, so that's information for you. Resources are splashed in the middle. Again, we've got some around the outside of the map. 81 tile players have been catered for. Lovely. Fishing looks like this. We've got a little bit of everything again, which again was quite surprising considering the sort of map that we're looking at. Right, let's follow the highway down into the Crater of Doom. Doom. Is it a Doom format? It is Boreal, I do believe. I skipped over that one, and that gives a nice darker, gloomier vibe. It's just the way that the Boreal theme, and it's just darker and dingier and more imploding. My brain has gone. Anyway, yes, the whole point is Transylvania. Okay, first intersection, not a vanilla intersection. Look at that. I think that's been grabbed off the workshop and worked into the environment quite well. I've seen better, but that is still good credit for that work. A nice little bridge there that hasn't been elevated too much, so again, good work there. And the highways, equidistant, going along, and somebody spent some time on these as well. Heading down now towards what I can see is clearly a wishbone intersection, a vanilla one, and yeah, these aren't the prettiest things in the world, but you know, I think we can accept that they do a job, don't they? It's easy just to plop them in, and then down into the start square. And again, that looks like a decent area to build into. It does join up over the other side as well, so once you've built your city, you may get a little bit of through traffic from side to side, but at least there is access and it's something for you to work around, maybe using mods such as Traffic Manager, Present Edition, or whatever variation there is when we come back. This could be going, you could be watching this in like 2025 and we might have new variations of mods. I got a little bit of encroaching foliage down here by this bridge. It's easily fixed with the bulldozer. Easily fixed with the bulldozer, but I do point these things out. You are not immune from encroaching foliage, even if you are a developer. If I'm gonna credit you on the good stuff, I'm gonna point you out on the minor stuff, which isn't so good. This bridge, looks a bit clunkier, but again, it does the job. It's fine. It just looks a little bit too elevated, really. Rail, let's start from everybody's favourite factory and work backwards. Now, we're in a crater, so I think we can accept there are going to be some hillies going on here. Some uppy-downies, possibly. But as long as it doesn't look horrendously stupid, I think we'll have to accept it as being fine. Little split in the rail here. Which way should we go? We'll go straight on as we're facing this way. The rail merges back in here. And this bridge, do you know what? That's not too bad. It's not too bad. A bit of a drop down to ground over here, but it's not the heaviest. I can live with that. We've got a little bit of encroaching foliage there as well. That's a bigger problem than these uppy downies. Speaking of uppy downies, got a river coming along here. Let's have a little check of the bridge over this one. It looks pretty smooth. Oh, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Somebody's been building nice bridges. Very nice indeed. Sorry, I'm just so surprised by some of this work sometimes. Remember, nice rail bridges. Remember that, okay? Remember, it can be done. Possibly some encroaching foliage there with that big bushy pine tree. And then the rail goes up into the hills, which is, well, it had to leave somehow. Although probably the exit down by the river might have been a better move than going up into the mountains. It's just a thought. But anyway, yeah, we'll just climb up here, just make sure there's nothing really crazy going on up here. It looks alright. Yeah, that's okay. Oh, hang on. It's still going up. Still going. I thought we were there, you know. I thought we'd made it. But no, we had a bit further to go. There are no shipping routes for fairly obvious reasons, but we do have little diamond-shaped air routes going on to work there. And you can see we do have good strong water flow. It's coming down off the mountains, and you'd expect that from a map like this one, as the fire brigade go flying past my window. And we have cascading waterfalls. Again, with a custom theme, this would look really quite special indeed. It's a good design for a map, whether we believe it or not. I mean, how he got up here over all those waterfalls, I do not know. Perhaps that's how he took on all the damage and ended up sinking there. Castle, ooh, it's a castle, a little stately home style castle. That's quite neat and tidy as well. And then over here we've got more castly bits. Yeah, just bits. Somebody has some fun with all the castly bits. Another one stuck in the cranny there. Why not? It's a fairly secure location. Nobody's coming over those mountains to attack you. What's over here? Oh, this castle is a bit more of a maze. It is possible to get in, but you're going to your attackers are going to get lost trying to find their way in through all that. Feel free to hit the pause button and track the line, and you can actually get into the castle there. It's not one of those crazy mazes that you can't find your way through. There is a path through. Anyways, that there, looking down through the crater, is just an interesting shape for a map. Do I like it? It's not to my personal tastes. Do I think it deserves 3 stars? I think it probably just about does. It's there's nothing awful about it at all. Yeah, so I would say it's a good 3-star map. Crater Falls, Sunset Harbor DLC. Next up, this is the one that surprised me. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you it's a 5-star map. It's not, but I've got a soft spot for this one. This is Desert Oasis again, and Sunset Harbor DLC. There's plenty about it I would change. But I like this one. Something about it. There's your start square. Very little to say about this one apart from there's no real water flow. You got that little lake in the bottom corner, so you find ways of dealing with that one. The resources are a little bit meager. I'm going to say that as well. Probably been a good map for a lot of oil. And of course fishing, well, it's a bit of a disappointment really on a fishing update that we haven't got more fishing. This would have been better with any of the other DLCs actually than this one, but hey ho. Now we've got lots of interesting trees going on here. These trees are rocky. Now we're out of the 25 tiles here, and these are detailing. These are props, and they're using up a large percentage of your prop count, because you'll run out of props if you're detailing your city. If you're going to be building on this map, come over here, grab all of these and just delete them. Just get rid of them. Use Move It, select props only, and just get rid of them. Because honestly, you don't want all of them out here. They're just, I don't know what it's about. I don't get it. I mean, maybe it's an area of outstanding natural history. Or maybe it's just somebody going crazy with the spam button. I think that's probably more likely. As the highway bears off to the left, a little bit of terrain glitching between the two highways there. That's just different levels for the two highways and the terrain glitching between them. So a little bit of terrain smoothing before the roads laid would be a bit better. This surprised me. We've gone elevated here, and I fully understand why. Personally, I probably would have gone for an embankment across here and done some terrain work to make it feel like it was worked up. But I do get it, and I cannot fault it. And it was quite clean and tidily done. So, again, I'm going to give credit for that one. Although it's not something that I personally would have done, I can see an intelligent brain going on behind that. And that's something that can't be said for some other maps that have come with DLCs in the past. Oh my life. Yes, if you've not seen any of the others of this series, do go back and check them out. There have been some very interesting ones, such as Green Cities. Check out Green Cities. I dare you to do worse. I dare you to make a worse map than the meager ones that came with Green Cities. But no, this is good work, and I like this one. This your start square intersection, flocked cloverleaf, very busy work going on there. And then if we go down this little off-road here, just take us down into the start square. And again, start square is a bit boring, but It's a desert map. It's supposed to be a little bit boring, but there's plenty of tropical life going on with this. This is your water spawn point. So yeah, don't be pumping your sewage into there. You might have some issues. Use some of these special assets that will deal with your sewage. Yeah, you're not relying on water flow on this map. We have a dead end for the rail by everybody's favourite factory. And then the rail is, well, there's not really too much to say about the rail here. There's not really much can go wrong. It's fairly flat land. It's following alongside the highway, which again makes a certain degree of sense. Certainly what I would be doing. And then that just curves off around the big old hill instead of going over the big old hill, which again is something that we might have seen in the past. Now behind that hill we have this lush area, that's the land that time forgot, even possibly the place that time forgot. That was the C movie version of that one. Then what more have we got going on? We've got another little mini area down here. The rock work. Now I'm not a big fan of these rock works that came with Park Life, but I can understand them being used, and I think they've been used quite well here. Gotta say, the towers, the way that they glitch into the environment there is just a little bit awkward. There's another one somewhere else we might find in a minute, like about here. There we go, there's another one there. So yeah, that could be smoothened out a little bit. But the actual rock work, although I don't feel it's realistic, I don't feel the map is supposed to be, it's more like a fantasy map again, I can buy into it. And do you know what? I don't hate it. I really don't hate it, and I really normally quite often do. Anyways, so that as a map as a whole, I'll accept it's no more than 3 stars. It isn't any more than 3 stars, but I have a soft spot for this. I personally like it. And you know, sometimes people go, my favourite ice cream is vanilla. Well, my favourite map today is this one. And I know it's nothing special. Anyway, what's next? Next up, we have this one. It's a really nice. Look at the way the islands in the middle there form that 25 tiles. It's very nicely planned out. Somebody again has been thinking about this one. It's Fisher Enclave from the Sunset Harbour DLC, of course. This one is somebody who's made maps before. I'm sure we'll probably know the name. Pretty sure. There's your start square. Your resources look like that. Again, a bit meagre, but definitely usable. And then if we head on over to the fishing, there's plenty of fishing, but although it's not as diverse as probably it could be. There's only the one water spawn point on the map, and so it's just all edge of map water flow. So you're kind of a little bit low on options there. Again, a little disappointing for a fishing DLC not to have all of the options in terms of getting hold of the tuna. I know the tuna is the hardest to get. I do believe that is deep water and moving water is what spawns your tuna, and there just doesn't. There is no moving water on the map really, so it's all pretty stagnant stuff. Anyway, where were we? Following the highways. Now, this one, the bridges is the thing. Now, admittedly, this one probably doesn't matter too much because not in the middle of the map, but it is a little bit, well, I'm sorry, pig awful, I think is the phrase I'm going to use for this one. At least it's aligned, but aesthetically, that is not pleasing at all. Shipping going underneath it needs to be higher. Yes, I'll accept that one, but it hasn't been really polished as well as it could have been. Then we're coming down to what we've got here, the Cloverleaf intersection, which is very busy. Lots going on across the map on this one. All the traffic coming through the map, and it might get a bit busy as you start growing. The Wishbone intersection with a little peel off to the left, and the start square. And Start Square again looks very usable. All credit there. We'll come back to this area later on. I know you're probably looking at that ditch. We'll come back to that. Now this bridge, again, it looks a little bit smoother than the previous one at this end, but it has no reason to be this high. There is actually no shipping routes going along here. So where it comes back down to ground there very steeply, it could have been a lot lower, and that could have been a very slick looking bridge at very little effort. I'm just pointing that one out. And then we'll follow the highways across, and then we'll get another one of these high bridges because we do have shipping going underneath here. Is this bridge any prettier than the first one? Not really. it just looks awkward. It looks very awkward indeed. Look at the steepness there. In fact, I think we've got a little bit of a bow there. Up, down, up. Yeah, it's not even a smooth. I don't know. I'm not really buying into that one. Anyway, that goes off a nice, look, nice, slick, low bridge. The middle bridge could have been a bit like that one. I know the pillars aren't perfectly aligned, but they're pretty close. And that one's very nice indeed. So credit on those ones. And the ones that need to be elevated are elevated. But what I would have done with the elevated ones, I would have drawn the road off up into the hills this way to get some elevation, and then use that ridge for the elevation purposes to jump across maybe that way, and then come back down to ground over there. Something like that. I'm not saying I went exactly that way, but that is an option. If we're not going to be using tunnels, of course. Now, shipping routes. We have shipping routes. This one is going to do a little bit of pillar clipping right here. The ships coming on this side are going to clip through that pillar. Not it's a huge problem, but at least the bridge is of the right height for the shipping to pass underneath. That goes off the edge of the map there. Over here, we do have a second shipping route that goes over the other side of the map. And it's not really too much to say about this one. It's going to avoid all the islands, which is better than some custom creators have been able to do over the years. Oh, we've seen some comedy maps with some cross-country shipping, haven't we? And actually some from some quality creators that have changed the land after they've put down the shipping routes and ended up with something quite disastrous. And that passes through there beautifully. Beautifully done. Credit again where it is due, and it is due there. Now, as I said earlier, there is only one water spawn point, and that is for this lake here. The rest of it is all edge of map water flows. So when you get into the middle of the map, it'll be pretty much slow, if non-existent here. We do have a little bit of motion there, and there's a tiny little bit of motion over here. There it is. So there is a little bit of motion, but if you're going to be pumping sewage into that water, give it some consideration. Okay. Now, all told, let me pull back and show you the map as a whole again. We've got the 25 tiles there, which is where the bulk of the interesting land mass is, and the rest of it is just feeding in your traffic. It's very, very pretty in the way that it's been laid out and designed. Lots of thought and design gone into the shapes of the islands, even these little filler islands going on here. Then we've got a love in the mountain ridges. The mountain ridges are breaking up the island so that you can't just do the old big grid city. Got a lot of rubble going on there. Don't know what happened. The collapse of a mountain. I like it though. I like it. Okay, aesthetically very pleasing again. Then we have a little hidden castle in the overgrowth here, and I can buy into that. It's almost a circular looking castle. That was all right. I like that. Then what more? We've got plenty of things to look at here. There's that wall going along the ridge of this hill here. Again, I think it's been very nicely done. Does it do anything for me practically? Not really, but I don't see any reason why there wouldn't be a wall up there, so credit there. We've got everybody's favourite factory, of course, we've got that one. But we've got other things as well, like one of the... we've got some nice islands going on. Oh, we got the Essential Lighthouse. The Essential Lighthouse, This is how the troops found their way across. The troops died and got buried on this island, by the way. Just thought I'd point that out. I quite like that as well, for that matter. Now, speaking of troops, we had one of the big battle zones of the war to beat all wars down here. This is the battlegrounds. And you'll see over here the defensive positions of the Paradox 1st Brigade over here. They were basically defending along here. You can see the old guns facing out over the battlefield. Very tidy. And then on the opposite side of the battlefield, we have the colossal First Order. See what I did there? And the guns are facing towards Paradox. Yeah, that was a very interesting battleground. Many lives were lost. Many lives. A little bit of hovering foliage there. Yeah, I saw that. But I will let that go, because at least that is just an interesting little feature that makes zero sense whatsoever. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Credit. And then down here we have a ship that didn't make it out of this before it became the Aral Sea. And does this really work for me? I wasn't entirely sure whether or not the water... I mean, we've got a full drop in water level. How much has this water level got to drop? for that to actually fill up. Well, let's play with that one, shall we? Let's grab the water tool and grab the sea level and raise the sea level up. So yeah, the sea level would have had to have been at that level for the ship to have got in there. And I could buy into that. It hasn't really affected the... But instead of having rising sea levels, we actually have falling sea levels on this map. It's a little bit suspension of disbelief, isn't it? Okay, all told, I like the overall shape of the map, the dynamic look to the map, but I'm not really buying into the vibe of the map. I'm going to give the map a high 3 stars, because it's interesting, but those bridges... Those bridges have brought it down from a 4. I can't let the bridges go. Fisher Enclave from the Sunset Harbour DLC. Let down by the bridges. And finally, is it finally? It might be finally. We have this map with lots of squiggles. This one looks like somebody's got a big tub of poster paint and just squiggled it all over the map with the rivers. It's Swamplands. And I wouldn't say it's so much Swamplands. There is a little swampy area we will find. But yes, it is a very tidily built map, again, in terms of design. There's your start square with the highway coming across there. The resources all centred on the 25 tiles again. Why we not got any for the 81 tile player? What you letting them down now? Arg. And we have all of the fishing. All of the fishing is right there and then. So again, that's been very nicely thought through. And this is the 5th and final map. I just check. I've run out of fingers. I realised I had to use my thumb for the 5th map here. We've got highways. It's just it's a design map, this one. It will suit some players. Certainly if you want to do fishing in rivers, this is an interesting map for that. In terms of quality is okay again. It's of the same sort of standard of the previous maps. We've got a tree encroaching here, sort of. It's not actually on the highways, but I don't buy into there actually being a tree there in the first place. As we head on up to our bridge, is our bridge going to be a good bridge? It looks like a little bit of a squeezed bridge. It's fine. Apart from where we come back down on the opposite side, where it's like a cliff edge. Just drops right down. Not the sharpest of the bridges, that one. Not the sharpest. Something that I would have built maybe 3 years ago myself. And kind of expect more. I want more. Give me more. Heading up, we're going to ignore the rail for now. We're coming to have a look at the rail in a moment, so don't worry about that. And then we have the Wishbone intersection leading to another bridge. And how are we looking with this? It looks a bit clunky. This bridge is fine, but the way that the intersection leads onto the bridge is a bit clunky. There's your start square. Again, very usable. Seen a few of those recently. Peninsula type ones with a river running around them or the coastline running around them. Nothing wrong with it. Just pointing it out because it's there to be seen. That runs off to the edge of the map over that way. We will carry on along this route. See if we can find anything down here. Route is an interesting word. Regulars to the show will know that my least favourite Americanism is the American version of route. I can't even dare. Oh, I'm going to say it. Route. Every time I hear a YouTuber say that word with that pronunciation, I squeal. I'm all for Americanisms, and I've adopted some of them myself. I think some American words are actually better than the English ones. Hang on, let's have a little look at the Queen's English one. Sorry, get that's all good. That's all good, and that goes off towards the edge of the map over there, and then the rail. Yeah, the rail bridge, perfectly fine. What are you talking about? What's wrong with that bridge? Nothing. Nothing's wrong with that bridge. Roller coaster. Lovely. Yes, so as I was saying, things like math, over the maths. I'm with that one. And I'm actually pants for over trousers. Yep. I prefer that. I think that makes a lot of sense too. Not something I would use in the United Kingdom because people would think I'm talking about my undercrackers. It's everybody's favourite factory. With some sidings which have been disconnected because it's all abandoned. So I'm okay with that one. So yes, in terms of Americanisms, I'm not anti-American speak. I'm not. But route and router are just... It just hurts my ears. Hurts my ears too much. Another perfect rail bridge there. The rail on this map is absolutely pristine. Absolutely love it. Spot the sarcasm. Really not a fan of the rail on this map. Kind of like the shape and the design of the map. Got a little bit of a swirly going on here. I guess it is kind of a fantasy map. Have we avoided streetlight clipping? We have somehow managed to avoid streetlight clipping there. They got away with murder there, but the slopes are... what's this? What's this? That could have stayed level all the way across there as well. Did no reason to have to elevate, because we dip down, then we go back up and over again. Like I say, it is a fantasy map, so we can allow for a little bit of suspension of disbelief. But it still has to be based in reality at a certain level. And when there is no reason to have to suspend disbelief, why are we doing that? I don't know. We've already shown that we can do better. And when I say we, I mean the developers can do a lot better. Because we've seen it. They've proven it. And this one as well. This is all kinds of sins. The rail over the castle. Strictly speaking, you could have a rail going over a castle. I'm sure there are places in the world where there is rail going over castles. But honestly, it's a crime against history. Don't do it. And then we've got an up and over again on the river. It's just horrible. Horrible rail. Do away with it. Get rid of it. Thank you. Shipping routes. We've got this one that follows up the narrow-ish river. It's been done very well because anything could have gone wrong here. We managed to avoid any any bridge clipping, and we've got a little loop back there as well. We have an active water system as well. You can't really... I'm not going to show you all the little white arrows on the blue background. You just take my word for it. There is strong water flow on this map. If you need strong water flow because you need to pump into the river, then you can. It's not a problem. Over here, however, this boat here, don't go this way, boat, because this is swampland. This is the only swampy part on the entire map. And you can see here the water's pushing down here. It's not quite making it all the way across. I think that's possibly by design, credit for that, I guess. And that's where it's broken its banks and we have a little bit of a swamp. Not the most awe-inspiring swamp, and I wouldn't call the entire map after this, but it's been handled well. Okay, the actual amount of water there has been handled very nicely indeed. So a little bit of credit there, but I feel a better job could have been done, and the entire map could have had a few other areas like that. Areas like this where you go, oh, this must be swampy. Well, it's not really. It's just kind of like a creek. It's just controlled, and we have a little bit of a stranded ship over here. But again, is that swampland or is that just lowered sea levels? And I would say it's more lowered sea levels, although it's more lowered river levels, really, isn't it, down here? Then we've got some very interesting shapes of terrain, and I like... Interesting is good. Okay, not always good, but on this map is good. An essential light elsewhere, I don't think one would ever be needed, but I guess suspension of disbelief on a fantasy style map. It's a nice design. It's a nice, interesting design. Somebody's put a lot of thought into the design. I think it could have been finished off a little bit better. Let's finish on this as the end screen. There we go. Line that up, make it look like it's the only thing. There we go. What do I think of the map as a whole? The map as a whole, like I say, it's an interesting design. Some of it I buy into, some of it I don't. I think it's a playable map again, so I'm going to give it 3 stars. I don't think it deserves a 4th star, but I think it deserves... it's a solid 3 stars. A playable, interesting map. Swamplands, Sunset Harbour, DLC, the 5th and final one of our DLC maps. And now, at this time, I have covered all of the DLC maps and all the vanilla base game maps. I've seen them all, I've done them all, and I can go back on Monday to reviewing regular workshop maps. Yes, what map returns on Monday the 24th? Been waiting for it to return. It is coming back. Hurrah! Huzzah! And all of that. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing, and for joining me for this fly-through of 5 more, well, classic maps, shall we call them. I've been BonBonB. You've been very, very welcome, and I'll see you very, very soon.